So if we move on slightly to forecasting with products, if you think about, let's think about umbrellas. So if you were a merchant just selling umbrellas, you didn't sell anything else, what you'd find is that if you looked at a graph, you would have your sales going like this, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And when they were up, it would be when you have rubbish weather. So in the UK, you're going to have a lot of these ups. Even today it's quite overcast. And then when they're down is when we've got sunny weather, because not as many people are going to be buying those umbrellas because we've got nice sunny weather. So if you have a product like this, it is dependent on a certain factor. So you're depending on the weather being rainy in order for people to buy that product. Now, what we can do, because those sales are up and down all the time, it makes it quite difficult to then forecast, well, how many sales are we going to get next year? So what you can do is you can actually put a line through where we've got the ups and downs, like this. And what we do is we take this line and we would apply that to our forecast. So what we'd say is that down here at the moment is where our sales have been. So this is the year. And then in order to work out the forecast for next year, we can move this up, and we would expect the sales to be at the lower end over here and at the high end over here. And we call that line the line of best fit. And what that line of best fit doing is simply just smoothing out these ups and downs so that you can get a better estimation of what those forecasted sales are going to be in future. So when we're looking at that graph where we've got these up and down movements, up and down all the time, when we've got our little line here, what we'll find is where our sales are up here but our trend line is down here, the gap between that is what we call a seasonal variance. So it could be down here, it could be up here. So when we're trying to work out the forecast sales, we actually have a formula that we can use. So that formula is expressed as A equals T plus S. And what they stand for is A is the forecasted sales volume, T equals the trend, so the trend that we've worked out, and S is the seasonal variances. So when we take all of that into account, we're going to have a better estimation of what those forecasted sales are going to be. Now, when we look at this particular formula, there is a name for that, and that is what we call the additive formula, because what we're doing is we're adding those seasonal trends into what our forecast is going to be. Now, another thing that you need to be aware of is what we call isolating the trend. So where we've got that formula where you've got your A, so your forecast equals your trend plus seasonal variances, when we're trying to isolate the trend, what we're trying to do is just isolate that T figure up here. So we want to get rid of this S over here and just be left with the trend. And there's certain ways that we can do that. So what we need to do is work out what we call moving averages. So if we have a table of information where we have sales between January and December, so if we're told that there's a quarterly spike in sales due to a seasonal trend, what we can do is work out what we call a moving average to work out what that trend line is. So basically, if we've got sales between January and December, and we're told that every 3 months there are seasonable sales, because you've got winter, spring, summer and autumn, then what we can do is take the total sales from January, February and March and divide it by 3, and that will give us a moving average between January, February and March. So we would put that next to February, and then we would take February, March and April total sales divided by 3, and then that will give us a moving average against the March line, as in February, March, April. And then we would do March, April, May total sales divided by 3 to get the moving average that would go against the April line, and so on and so forth. Now, once we've got all of those moving averages going down the list, we can then plot a graph based on those values, and that way we can also see the trend. So it's as simple as that, really. But I hope you found this video useful. As always, do consider subscribing, and I shall see you on the next video.